Hello, and welcome to the Toshogu Podcast, where we break down the latest news, breakthroughs, and ideas shaping the future of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So if you really look at what's happening right now, we are moving decisively past that whole era of, flashy, standalone AI models. The parlor tricks are over. Today, we are exploring how AI is actually maturing into serious production-grade infrastructure. The focus has shifted heavily toward hard business economics, persistent memory, and undeniable return on investment. Let's begin.
It really is a massive shift. The entire industry has spent, the last few years totally obsessed with just a single burning question.
Right, like who has the smartest model?
Exactly. It was this relentless arms race. Just raw intelligence obsessing over leaderboard benchmark scores, trying to see who could build the absolute most capable digital brain.
Yeah, it was all about who could get to AGI first.
Right. But that competitive landscape, it has completely inverted now.
It really has. Because the new question is simply, who can deliver that intelligence at the lowest total cost?
Yep.
And we are really seeing this reality set in with OpenAI's rollout of the GPT 5.6 family. The focus of this release, it isn't primarily about achieving some artificial general intelligence breakthrough. It's a masterclass in efficiency.
Absolutely.
They are just aggressively driving down costs across model training, inference, prompt caching, and the routing.
The benchmark numbers are what make this shift so undeniable, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the Artificial Analysis Coding Agent Index,
Oh, yeah, the new results there are wild.
they really are. OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sol model, when they configure it for maximum reasoning capabilities, it actually beats Anthropic's Claude Fable 5.
Which is huge on its own.
It is. But the critical detail isn't just that it wins. It is that Sol achieves that superior performance at less than half the cost.
Half the cost for a smarter model, that is just, it changes the math on everything.
Totally.
And Sol is just the premium tier, right? OpenAI has architected this entire tiered model family now.
Yeah, they really stratified it.
Right, so below Sol, you have Terra, which delivers GPT 5.5 level performance, but at half the price of the previous generation.
And then you have the smallest one.
Yeah, at the bottom there is Luna, which is positioned as the absolute fastest, cheapest option available. Okay, let's unpack this. Think of this tiered model architecture like a high-end law firm.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. Because in a major law firm, you do not pay a senior partner who bills at $1,000 an hour to stand by the copier and staple papers.
No, you would bankrupt the firm in a week doing that.
Exactly. So instead, you route the highly complex, nuanced legal reasoning to the senior partner. That's your GPT 5.6 Sol.
You're right, the heavy lifter.
But for the routine contract drafting, the document classification, or just, basic administrative data entry, you hand that off to the intern, which is Luna.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that model routing capability is now the most important margin lever in the software business.
It has to be.
It really does. Businesses have to aggressively separate the raw intelligence of an AI model from the underlying economics of the system.
Because if you don't, your cloud bills are going to be insane.
Exactly. If you are building a massive enterprise AI product and you're relying exclusively on a frontier model for every single API call, guarantees you will take a loss on your compute costs.
Right. You're paying the senior partner to make coffee.
Precisely. You have to reserve that expensive senior partner level reasoning strictly for the multi-step logic bottlenecks. Then you push everything else down to the cheaper intern models.
But under the hood, that requires a pretty sophisticated orchestration layer, right? Something that evaluates a prompt's complexity before deciding which model gets the ping.
Yeah, and that's exactly where the market is heading.
But wait, relying on thousands of cheaper intern models to handle all these administrative tasks, that creates a massive new logistical nightmare, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it is a huge management headache.
Because if models are becoming cheap commodities, and we are deploying them across hundreds of thousands of daily workflows, how do businesses actually manage them? You cannot just let 100 autonomous interns run loose in your systems with zero management structure.
Total chaos would ensue. Literally, that is why enterprise agent platforms are evolving from these simple playgrounds into rigorous operating environments.
Right, they have to grow up.
Exactly. Google Cloud, for example, is making major infrastructure available for their Gemini Enterprise Agent platform to solve this exact management crisis.
Oh, really? What are they doing?
Well, they are taking all the complex controls required to operate fleets of agents and packaging them as a fully managed service. It completely removes the need for companies to custom engineer these solutions from scratch.
Which is a huge relief for IT departments, I bet. And the feature list on this Google Cloud platform is incredibly robust.
It really is.
Like, they have introduced an agent memory bank, an agent identity system, an agent gateway, a registry, and all these vital observability tools. But the feature that truly stops you in your tracks is the agent runtime.
Oh, man. The runtime is wild.
Yeah. They have engineered a runtime environment that allows an agent workflow to persist for up to 7 days.
Which is, the engineering behind a 7-day runtime is phenomenal because it requires true state preservation.
Right, and most AI today doesn't do that at all.
Not at all. Most AI interactions today are stateless.
Yeah.
You ask a question, you get an answer, and the model instantly forgets you exist.
Like a goldfish.
Exactly. But a 7-day runtime means the agent can hold a complex goal in its memory over an extended period.
Right.
So it might draft an email on Tuesday, pause its process to wait for a human manager to approve it on Thursday, receive feedback on Friday, and then rewrite the draft without losing any of the context from those original Monday instructions. It maintains a persistent state machine.
Okay, I have to stop you there because a 7-day runtime sounds like a recipe for a massive, expensive hallucination loop.
It definitely sounds risky.
Right. But wait, if an agent is running autonomously for a week straight in a company's CRM, how do we know it isn't going rogue? Like, what is stopping it from going completely off the rails, emailing my entire client list with a massive hallucinated discount, and just bankrupting my cloud computing budget while I'm asleep?
This raises an important question, and it really highlights why secure machine identity is no longer optional. It is a strict prerequisite.
Okay.
You cannot authorize a 7-day autonomous workflow without ironclad cryptographic guardrails. And AWS is introducing some critical architecture here.
Right, I saw this.
Their Amazon Bedrock Agent Core Identity just integrated private key JWT authentication directly into the workflow.
JWT being JSON Web Tokens, and that gets routed through the AWS Key Management Service, right?
Correct. So historically, software systems have relied heavily on shared OAuth client secrets.
Which is basically a password.
Exactly. Think of an OAuth secret as a static password that gets passed back and forth between servers. The vulnerability with shared secrets is that they are difficult to rotate safely, they are hard to audit, and if they ever get leaked,
it's game over.
yeah, whoever possesses that string of text has the absolute keys to the kingdom.
So, to make sure I'm following here, a shared oath secret is basically like a VIP backstage pass.
Good analogy, yeah.
Anyone who holds the physical pass gets into the concert regardless of whether they are actually the person who bought it.
Right, the bouncer doesn't care, they just see the pass.
Exactly. But moving to private key, JWT, with AWS KMS, that is more like a biometric scan.
Yes.
The agent is mathematically proving its identity for every single action, and the private key never actually leaves the protected AWS vault. The identity cannot be separated from the requester.
That is the perfect distinction. Because the agent never handles the raw key, it uses the KMS vault to cryptographically sign assertions, proving who it is and what permissions it has.
So even if an attacker intercepted the request, they don't get the key.
Right. As these long-running agents gain access to highly sensitive areas, finance systems, internal APIs, healthcare records, this kind of biometric-level secure identity, combined with strict least privilege access, is what prevents that rogue budget draining scenario you were worried about.
Okay, so we have the secure infrastructure built out, we have the identity controls locked down tight in the vault, and we have the persistent 7-day memory.
Yep, the foundation is there.
But what do these agents actually do with all of this? How do they interact with older, highly fragmented business systems? Because, most mid-market businesses cannot afford to rip out and replace their entire technology stack just to accommodate a shiny new AI agent.
And they absolutely shouldn't have to. The bridge between these cutting-edge AI agents and legacy business systems is being standardized right now through the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
MCP. We've been seeing that acronym everywhere lately.
Yeah, and AWS recently published a comprehensive production architecture that demonstrates exactly how MCP works as an integration layer in the real world.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think of an MCP server as a universal remote control for a highly fragmented legacy business.
I love that. A universal remote.
Yeah, imagine a mid-sized logistics company. They might have a supply chain database from 2015 that half the staff is terrified to touch.
Because the guy who built it left 6 years ago.
Exactly. And they also have a modern quality control application, plus real-time IoT telemetry pinging off their delivery trucks. Historically, a human analyst would have to log into 3 completely different interfaces, export 3 different spreadsheets, and manually reconcile all that data.
Which takes hours, if not days.
Right.
Well, MCP fundamentally eliminates that friction. It allows developers to take those specific fragmented business capabilities like the truck equipment status or those 2015 inventory levels and package them into standardized reusable tools.
So the agent doesn't need to know how the 2015 database works.
Exactly. The MCP server acts as a universal translator. When the AI agent needs data, it simply invokes the MCP server, which talks to the legacy API, and returns the information in a format the LLM can understand.
That is incredibly smooth.
The genius isn't necessarily the protocol itself. It is the fact that multiple different agents can now securely discover and use these legacy business tools without requiring custom, hard-coded engineering for every single new task.
And the return on investment when you connect these systems is just staggering. AWS highlighted a specific customer retention workflow using Amazon Quick that illustrates this perfectly.
Oh, that case study is fantastic.
Yeah, it pulls together customer satisfaction scores, live call transcripts, and real-time sentiment analysis.
If you look closely at how that workflow operates, it is a masterclass in automation.
How so?
Well, when a customer has a terrible, frustrating support call, the AI agent uses MCP actions to immediately pull that call transcript from the legacy database. It analyzes the text, mathematically scores the churn risk, and triggers a highly personalized retention offer back to that specific customer.
Without a human having to sit there and read the transcript.
Right.
And the killer metric from AWS on this is just unbelievable. This specific workflow took a 5-day manual churn response process where human managers had to manually read transcripts, request budget approvals, and eventually try to email an already angry customer, and reduced it down to mere minutes.
And that boardroom conversation, that is the ultimate blueprint for adopting AI today.
Because it's actually measurable.
Exactly. Generic, open-ended chatbots are nearly impossible for a chief financial officer to attach a concrete value to. But if you can walk into a boardroom and say, hey, I can reduce your 5-day churn response time to 3 minutes by wrapping your existing legacy data in an MCP server.
Yeah.
I mean, that provides immediate, undeniable ROI.
Yeah, you can put a dollar amount on that immediately.
You are identifying a known operational bottleneck, defining a strict trigger, mapping a specific tool action, and delivering a measurable financial outcome.
It totally transforms AI from an experimental science project into a concrete revenue preservation engine.
It really does.
Now, we have mostly been focusing on text workflows, data analysis, and internal systems. But what happens when the AI starts talking directly to your customers over the phone? And more alarmingly, what happens when malicious actors start utilizing these exact same automated tools?
Yeah, we are witnessing a massive acceleration on both of those fronts simultaneously, particularly regarding the underlying economics of voice AI.
Which brings us to XAI. They just entered this space aggressively by launching Grok Voice Think Fast 2.0.
Yeah, Think Fast 2.0.
And they have priced it at an astonishing 8 cents per minute.
8 cents. It's crazy.
They are boasting major improvements in underlying speech reasoning, transcription accuracy, and crucially, how well the model handles noisy environments, which, has always been a massive hurdle for voice agents.
Background noise usually breaks them completely.
Right. And they even backed this up with A/B testing on Starlink customer calls, which actually demonstrated an increase in sales conversions and better support ticket containment.
Hitting 8 cents an audio minute is a threshold that permanently alters the commercial landscape.
It's just so cheap.
It is. Even when you factor in the additional telephony and orchestration costs, voice agents are suddenly financially viable for everyday small to medium businesses.
Like local shops.
Yeah, a local real estate firm trying to qualify leads, a bilingual customer service desk, or a small dental clinic handling appointment changes. They can now build out voice workflows with incredibly clear, profitable unit economics.
So what does this all mean for you? Because the tension here is immense.
It really is.
On one hand, having access to an infinitely scalable receptionist for pennies on the dollar is a total no-brainer for a small clinic. It is basically treating intelligence as a cheap utility, like, plugging into electricity.
Right.
But on the other hand, are you just automating your own vulnerabilities? If a small business plugs this incredibly cheap, highly capable voice agent into their scheduling software without the biometric-level JWT identity controls we discussed earlier, they are opening a massive automated door to attackers.
And the data absolutely validates that fear.
It does.
If you look at the IBM 2026 cost of a data breach report, it paints a very stark, unforgiving picture of the cybersecurity reality we are operating in. 1 in 4 malicious breaches are now AI-enabled.
1 in 4. Wow.
Yeah, that represents a 56% increase year over year. Attackers are using these cheap models to automate spear phishing, credential stuffing, and social engineering at absolute machine speed.
1 in 4 breaches being AI-enabled is terrifying. It means the attackers have fully commercialized this technology for themselves.
And the resulting financial devastation is severe. The average cost of these data breaches has now hit $6 million.
$6 million?
Yep. Furthermore, more than 20% of organizations reported a breach that specifically targeted their AI models or their agent applications.
So they are going right for the AI itself.
Exactly. However, the IBM report did reveal a crucial silver lining here. Organizations that extensively deployed AI and automation in their own defensive security operations, they actually reduced their breach costs by almost $2 million on average.
Oh, because they can detect, isolate, and contain the automated attacks infinitely faster than a human security analyst. It is essentially AI fighting AI at machine speed.
Precisely the point. What this proves is that AI governance can no longer be treated as the theoretical compliance discussion relegated to the legal department.
It's not just a checklist anymore.
No, your security architecture, your identity management, your API protection, and those runtime controls, they directly dictate your financial exposure. An unauthorized action taken by a rogue agent, a data leak through a poorly secured MCP server, or a credential compromise can quite literally ruin a business overnight.
Yeah.
Enterprise buyers are simply going to start outright rejecting any agent deployments that lack a rock-solid, demonstrable security operating model.
It makes total sense. You wouldn't hire a brilliant new employee and then immediately hand them the master keys to the company vault without a background check and a rigorous auditing process. Now, with the cost of these frontier models dropping so rapidly and the security stakes rising higher than ever, the frontier providers are playing a massive strategic long game. They want to ensure that as this infrastructure gets locked down and standardized, every institution relies entirely on their specific ecosystem.
What's fascinating here is how aggressively the top providers are moving to subsidize the future of work.
Right.
OpenAI just launched a major initiative, ChatGPT for academic researchers. They are starting by onboarding 10,000 researchers with a stated target to hit 100,000 by 2027.
And they are putting serious capital behind this rollout, aren't they?
Huge capital.
It is part of a massive overarching commitment exceeding $250 million over the next year and a half. They're handing these academic researchers completely free access to their absolute best frontier models, massive context windows, and all the integration connectors and tools they need.
It is a brilliant, calculated strategy.
Really aggressive.
Providers like OpenAI understand that if they can subsidize access today, they can dictate the world's workflows, standard operating procedures, and institutional habits long before massive enterprise IT budgets fully mature.
Get them while they're young, basically.
Exactly. If the next generation of academic researchers, scientists, and startup founders build their entire mental model of work, their prompt libraries, their MCP tool integrations around one provider's specific ecosystem, that provider essentially wins the decade. It is institutional lock-in.
It is the classic give away the razor to sell the blades playbook, just applied to institutional infrastructure.
Yep.
But it is vital to remember the reality of change management here. Even if the raw AI model is being handed to a university or a research lab entirely for free, that institution still faces a mountain of operational work.
A literal mountain.
Right. They still have to figure out the workflow process redesign, establish the governance frameworks, set the security baselines, and figure out how to actually integrate the AI into their daily operations to get that measurable deployment. Free intelligence does not mean free execution.
That distinction between intelligence and execution is exactly where the entire market is settling right now.
Yeah.
The intelligence is becoming a commodity. The execution is the real challenge.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to ponder today. If these frontier AI models are rapidly becoming a cheap, highly subsidized commodity that literally anyone can access, whether it is an 8-cent-a-minute voice agent for a local dentist or a free frontier model for a university researcher, then your company's access to raw intelligence is no longer a competitive moat. Everyone has the genius intern now.
They really do.
The only real advantage you will have in the future is the operating system you build around that AI. Your edge will come down to how well your system remembers context over a 7-day runtime, how securely it uses machine identity to access your unique legacy tools, and how flawlessly it executes real-world actions to reduce a 5-day problem into a 3-minute solution. The model is just the engine. The true value is in the vehicle you build around it.
Well said.
That's all for today's episode of the Toshogu Podcast. If you enjoyed it, like this episode, subscribe, and join us next time for the latest in AI. Until then, keep building what outlives you.